As we told you a little earlier tonight, we've had a lot of wet weather in the past few months, and firefighters couldn't be happier.
You're going to be seeing a lot of smoke and haze as those firefighters do some controlled burns. It's a story you'll see only here on WB2 News. And reporter Amy Freeze joins us again live from Jefferson County. Amy?
Ernie, as we talked about, despite a mild fire season, forest rangers are worried about weeds and other plants that might fuel a future forest fire. They've been waiting for favorable weather conditions in order to do controlled burns, and today was their window of opportunity. The plan is to manipulate flames now so that forest fuel can't feed a wildfire later, and weather plays a major part in this project.
We're usually looking for a little more stability, clear blue skies so that smoke can go up, and good transport winds.
Weather made it possible to burn 500 acres today. Ideal humidity and cool temperatures are necessary for the small, steady flames, and a favorable wind for the smoke.
The solution to pollution is dilution.
Crews spread a diesel and gas combination to ignite the forest floor. The resulting flame should fade quickly, but hoses are on hand just in case. Fires are a natural element in the forest ecosystem, but not everybody thinks these burns are a good idea.
We do our best to inform the public ahead of time, and we do our best to accommodate publics who might be adversely affected.
Evidence of the burn was seen earlier today on US 285, and hazy skies may linger on the Front Range.
I think people will probably see smoke on this fire for at least a week. There'll be little bits of smoke. Probably not as much as we've seen on the first and second days after the burn, but usually most of the fuels will have consumed and there'll just be a little minor smoke.
Prescribed fires may prevent a major catastrophe, and when the smoke clears, the forest floor is healthier.
The fire burned through this area. Moved through here in 5 or 10 minutes, and because the fuels still had a little bit of moisture in them and we were controlling the fire, if you just go down a little ways, you'll find that the soil's actually still cool and there's still organic matter a little ways down there. We've just cleaned the litter up and turned it into carbon, which might also help the plants find some more nutrients a little.
About 500 acres were burned today. The Forest Service plans to treat at least 1,000 acres of the forest before the first snowfall. And as the rangers said, the smoke may linger as much as a week along the Front Range after these burns occur. Ernie?
So if you see the smoke, that's probably what it is.
And windy. Yes, exactly. The rangers say that this is something that will help prevent a major catastrophe. In fact, this exact site where they were was just 2 miles away from the Buffalo Creek fire, which happened back in '96. That burned 11,000 acres in just 6.5 hours. So this is all in an effort to prevent another catastrophe like that one.
Okay, Amy Freeze, thanks.
Complete devastation. As far as the crops go, there's 100% damage on it.
Marvin Smith is a diversified farmer in Adams County. He's talking about the hailstorm that damaged 500 acres of his crop.
Just rips it apart, and there's just nothing left to grow. It just can't grow anymore.
For example, just yesterday, this field of crops was at least 2 feet high. But the hail has damaged this crop so badly, it'll have to be replanted.
This crop is lost. And this is what it did to the wheat and the sunflowers and the corn. It just drove it right back into the ground.
An aerial view from WB2 Sky Ranger shows that acres of crops aren't doing well. In fact, the damage extends from the Smith Farm in Byers for at least 5 miles south, and then east and west from DIA to the Kansas border.
A comparison for somebody in the city, you work all year long. You have a storm that lasts a half hour, you take and give your paycheck away, and you still have all your bills left. It's just gone. Everything that you worked for all year, you just give it away. And it's happened twice now in 2 years to me.
Smith has lived on the Colorado Plains all his life and admits there aren't many options for him and his fellow farmers. Where do you go from here?
Wake up tomorrow morning and try it again.
Ernie, not just good weather this weekend, but a wet spring and summer have left behind a booming elk population. Besides large herds, the food supply for big game is also overly abundant. And as we find out in tonight's Sunday Signature, the elk are scattered just about everywhere, adding challenge to a time-honored sport.
They're in excellent shape this season. We're seeing a lot of big bulls out in the fields.
Green fields make for easy grazing. Water is readily available just about everywhere they roam.
This is like heaven on earth for the elk.
Herd after herd of healthy, strong elk. Yet big numbers don't necessarily mean the elk are easier to find.
They're also pioneering into new areas of the state as a result of the great habitat conditions.
Biologists report it's the best habitat conditions they've seen in decades, which could actually be a tricky situation for hunters this season.
If the forage conditions are abundant, then those animals tend to scatter more. Hunters are just going to have to work a little harder, but the possibility to harvest an animal is still very high.
Colorado has the largest herd in North America with about 230,000 elk. This traditionally makes for a great hunting season. Last year, the harvest was a record 51,000.
They're a little bit more scattered than we're used to seeing.
Just like they do every year, the division has published a review of all the herds here in Colorado. After studying elk statewide, they decide how many licenses should be issued to maintain the health of the herd.
Hunting is a management tool that the division uses to keep those herd size objectives so that we know that there's enough forage available for the animals.
Tradition ensues this weekend as hunters scope the plains and forest. It just may be a little harder finding their prey. The Division of Wildlife has another warning for hunters tonight. Beware of the moose that are wandering in the elk habitat this season. In the past 2 decades, more than 275 moose have been mistakenly killed by hunters. Ernie?
Amy, even for the non-hunter, Mother Nature helps them when it comes to the elk and other wildlife.
That's right. As we said, Colorado does have the largest elk herd in North America, but of course this is prime time viewing for any kind of animal. The wildlife in places like Rocky Mountain National Park, also Estes Park, have very healthy herds, very numerous animals to look at. Ernie?
So easy to go watch them.
Yes.
All right, Amy, thank you.